So we're gonna copy these to color correction, holding Alt and dragging on top of the other rock, create clipping mask, and I'm going to merge this to a smart object, merge these to a smart object, and now I have all smart object with the floating rocks. So I'm gonna call this flying rocks, so I know what is what. Flying rocks. See how everything in my layers is so neat now? I know exactly where everything is. Flying rocks, you're gonna go to filter, and then blur, and then motion blur. And about 15 works. Flying rocks, add a filter blur, add a blur, motion blur here too, maybe more? No, that's too much. I don't want the rocks to fade that much. So see how this is getting shape here. What is with this one? I don't like this one here. It's too, I'm gonna fix it afterwards. I'm gonna have to make a few things darker and stuff like that. So let me see if I missed something. So we got the rocks, we got, oh, the magic circle there. So you can make this obviously on your own. You can make the however you want with the brush tool, for example, with custom shapes. Search for custom shapes, like circle custom shapes and triangle custom shapes, and you can literally make this in 2 seconds. I don't know which I'm going to pick, but I really like this one. I don't know, I'm just attracted to this one. I'm going to select my magic wand tool and just copy this white circle and paste it inside. Whoops, again, work pollution. Just paste it inside here, put it in the middle, make it a bit smaller. How small is it here? Okay, make it a bit smaller, move it and twist it a bit, and there you go. See, that looks good. Wait a second. No, nothing. Now you're going to double click on this, make it white or whatever color you want. This is Photoshop, you can just play with whatever. Add an outer glow. So just add an outer glow, white, and on screen mode. The size, not too much, because you want to see the glow, but you don't want to have it exaggerated like this. So just a tiny bit of glow, you know. There you go. So now we can see that this gorilla is taking shape right now. We're gonna play with some lighting right now, and that's the final step of this. Some color correction, some lighting. So what is this? This is the magic circle. Magic circle. There you go. Flying rocks. Let's start with the flying rocks. Right click and create clipping mask. So our light will come from the fire and the magic circle. So I'm just going to grab my tablet. You can do this with a mouse, obviously. And I'm going to select my brush tool, soft one, probably what? That's too big. 400? I don't know. 400 black. And change your opacity here to, I don't know, 20. You can control it by pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 on a keyboard. So see, now I press, for example, 5, 6, 56, 7, 8, 78, 7 is 70, etc. Let's try with 50, and I'm gonna put some on the flying rocks here. Now I definitely need a smaller stuff here. Just gonna add some dark around here, because the light is going to be hitting the rocks on the top here and on the left side here where the white part is. So I'm just playing around here for oops, that's the back one. That's why it wasn't working. I'm just gonna add some lighting here, some dark here, some here, some here, and here. And the floating rocks on in the back. Create clipping mask. Actually, I can just move this floating rock. I can just move it next to the others. The flying rock. Okay. Flying rock. Since it's not behind the gorilla, it's like next to it. So it's, I mean, it's definitely behind. You can see that, but yeah. So we got our flying rocks here. Now what you want to do, you can add another let me see here, another layer. This is the front ones, and call this HL. These are highlights, and right click and add a yellow color to it so you know that these are highlights. So now you're going to grab some orange. You know, you can sample it from the horns or just regular orange from Photoshop. This orange here, let me show you. See, if I put it on 0, you can see the intensity. Now you're going to select a bigger brush this time. You're going to select like I don't know, 300 and use like 10% opacity. So we can just first add the first layer of color, you know, like this. There you go, first layer of color. And then make a new layer on the back one. Call this HL, color coded to yellow, and just add that. Now you're gonna make a second layer, and you're gonna color code this orange, and you're gonna call this hard HL, and these are the hard highlights. So now you're going to go with 80% opacity and a smaller size, because you're going to do hard highlights. So something like this, lines, you know. You're gonna zoom in and kind of add on the edge. Let me put actually full on 100% and just kind of like brush these over there. And just kind of like paint where you see some highlights, where you see that the light would hit. Just like that. There we go. Just like that. There we go. And this one here, light's definitely gonna hit there. Okay, and now the back one, I'm just gonna copy it. This is useless if I don't copy it. Quickly mask, and I'm gonna have on the back one too. This is a bit too much, so I'm just gonna remove what I don't need. There we go. And now let's play around with some blur. Yep, we're gonna change our hard highlights to, I don't know, overlay? No, let's go with color dodge. Hell yeah, color dodge. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, I think. Let me see here how it works. Oh, definitely Gaussian blur. And you want it pretty big. Just like this, I think. Let me see. That works. That works. Just lower the opacity a bit. It's a bit too much. So 50% sort of. So I'm gonna add some blur here too. Color dodge. Lower the opacity. No, actually I can leave the opacity as is on the back one. And now we're gonna play with the rock on the bottom that the gorilla is sitting on. So I'm going to just let me see here. Yeah, this is it. So I'm just going to add a new layer and call it obviously yellow, and another layer which will be, no, actually we don't need another hard layer for this one. HL yellow. Select a soft brush, size pretty decent. Let's add some shadows. Make a new layer, shadows, call it shadows, color coded gray, and clip the mask to the rock so we can add some blacks inside. Let me choose black and make sure that your opacity is like 40-50%. Big size brush, and just put on the bottom, you know. So on the bottom it's gonna be like dark and stuff. There we go. Just like that. Now I'm going to go to the gorilla, and I'm going to add a clipping mask here so I can add some shadows too. There we go. Gonna call this shadows and color coded gray. That's how we do it. And well, this time, I don't know, man. I guess 30% opacity should do, and just kind of brush on his chest, you know, where the light would not hit. And I don't like this on the legs, so I'm just gonna lower the opacity and just gonna make the whole area darker, you know, just like this, because I don't think the light should be there. There we go. So kind of like that. You want to go like that with your animals. Maybe lower the opacity a bit. No, this is good. This is good like this. And now you're going to want to make a new layer on top of the rocks here. No, actually we have shadows. What am I saying? And you can also use this shadows layer for the shadow of the gorilla. So small size brush and kind of like, I don't know, 70% maybe? And kind of like make the shadow of the gorilla so it doesn't look fake at all. Now 30% opacity, I can add more. Just like that. Now it does not look fake at all. Okay. Well, besides the magic and the stuff like that, I mean, it's fine. These are the rocks, right? That's the gorilla. Highlighter on the rocks. You can add some orange on the rocks. Let me see here, bigger size brush, yet not too much. Orange and maybe 10% opacity. Yeah, just 10% should do. Color dodge, I think. Yeah, color dodge should do. It's a bit too much, but I'm gonna lower the opacity, doesn't matter. It's hitting in the back too, so should not be hitting there. Filter blur, motion blur, add a motion blur, you know, just not too much. Let's see here. Just so we got some light, but it's blurred on the rocks here. Know what I mean? And let me lower the color dodge. What if I had it on screen? Screen should look good. Oh, okay, that's... no, it's too much. Let me see here. No, color dodge, definitely color dodge. Okay, let's zoom out. Let's go to our gorilla right now, and we're going to add some highlights to it. Color coded yellow. Call it HL, and just big size brush. Well, not too big, but gotta put it on color dodge. And I'm going to brush a bit on the shoulders, you know, really small, 10%, just at the beginning, you know, just not too much at all. A bit on the legs. Oh, this is gonna be 0.1% because I don't want too much. 1%, like literally 1% opacity. You don't want to add that much stuff inside. Okay, just on the arm here, on the fur. Okay, now we're gonna select the shadows again because I don't like his mouth being so bright, so bright. So I'm going to select a smaller brush size, opacity, I don't know, about 10%, 20%, and kind of brush inside, maybe 50%, and kind of brush inside, you know, so it makes it a bit darker. Let me grab my eraser tool with a hard brush and kind of just make sure that his mouth is a bit darker, just like that. That looks good. Just gonna add some shadow here. Okay, that looks good. Just some color correction, you know, some playing around. Okay, so we got the gorilla, we got the magic thing. Well, let me see if I missed something. Well, the sparks and stuff, obviously. But let me see if I missed anything on gorilla. Okay, gorilla. Let's make some white eyes. You can do this with your animals. I made this recently for the wolf mother manipulation. So just make a new layer on top of the gorilla, clip mask, call it eyes. And we're going to simply select with the lasso tool the shape of the eyes here. So it's gonna like cut off here, just like that. And just grab your regular brush tool, opacity 100%, and fill it with white. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on this lock transparent pixels here, and it's going to lock the layer with the eyes, this one here. And I'm going to select the soft brush with black, opacity 10% maybe, no, 40%, and kind of brush along the edges so it looks like the eyes are inside, you know. There we go. just like that. Now you can make a copy of it. Eyes too. Right click and flip horizontal and just move it on this other side. And just move it right here. You can also add a glow to them, but I think they're glowing enough. Now we're going to have to add some color dodge, a bit harsher on the head of the gorilla. So we're gonna go to our highlights here and simply select a yellow soft brush here with about 40%. I don't know. No, that's a bit. No, actually, it's good. 40%. But let me choose this red here. I think the. Oh yeah, that works better. So this is kind of like not red, but sort of red, like tomato red. FF4200. So use that one, and I'm going to add some highlights with that on the gorilla, just like that. There we go. Now we're gonna go to the horns and add some shadows to the horns. Let me see here, horns, shadows. We don't really need highlights on the horns because they already look pretty decent and have a lot of highlights. So shadows, black brush, soft one, just to kind of start brushing, you know, so to make the fire more intense. Just dark horns of chaos of, I don't freaking know. There you go, that looks way more intense. So now we can add some sparks and fire and whatnot. This is just personal preference. You don't have to add any of these, but I'm just going to add, for example, these sparks here that I have. There we go. Just gonna put this like this. Again, you can find sparks and stuff on CG Textures. I'm going to link you in the description. Check it. And screen. Gonna put it on screen. Oh, I like this. I really like this. Gonna add a mask to it. Soft brush, but not too soft. Probably 64%. Bigger size, and I'm just going to remove opacity 100 and just remove where it's too much, you know, because I want to keep sparks, but I kind of don't want to mess it up and have it all over the place. So whoops, I want it there. So I want it, but around the horns area, you know, because that's where the whole fire is. So I like that. I like this one right here. Now let me see if I can find some other fire stocks here in my fire folder, other sparks. What is this one? What is this one? Can we use this one? We definitely can use that one. So I'm just gonna import it and put it on screen. Yep, we're gonna put it on screen. There we go. But just not too much. As you can see with this one, it's a bit too much, you know, so just add a mask to it and just brush out the unneeded elements. So just leave like a few sparks that are big, but just not too many. There we go. And now you want some, you know, some destruction and stuff like that. So let me see if I can find some destroyed kind of textures and stuff like that. I should have some in my. Oh, definitely. I have this broken glass here, but I don't see how glass would come into play. But we got this area here with a lot of residual dust and stuff, which I'm gonna copy and put it inside of this. So it looks smaller now, but it does not matter because we're going to just make it blurry and stuff, and we're going to erase the majority of it. So just add some stuff like this and put it on screen. You know, some destruction. You can find it on Google. It doesn't matter because we're gonna destroy it anyway. So add a mask and just erase whatever you don't need. So we have some variation, you know, in color and elements. Wait, I need some on the bottom. So just not too much, just like this. Oops, there's something missing. What am I doing? I'm gonna add some here. Just like that. Gonna add some here. There we go. Well, that's a bit too much with this stuff. Gonna have to make it a bit more simpler. That looks good. Oh, and one last thing, let's not forget the shadow. So just grab your rocks here, you know, the rock that the gorilla is sitting on, and make a copy of it between the background and the rock layer. So let me just remove this, an extra layer that we don't need. So now we have the rock over here, right? We're gonna press Control T on the keyboard and just drag it down so we can just put it here under, just like that, and press Enter. And now I can click on this, right click, and then rasterize the layer and lock the transparent pixels with that button right there. And now I can just fill it with black with a black soft brush. And now I go to filter, blur, and just add a tiny bit of motion blur. Now you can put this on soft light, and now you can lower the opacity a bit. So we have the shadow of our rock. We can also make it a bit wider if we want to, and press Enter, and there we go. So you can see the gorilla looks like it's floating right now in midair on the rock. Let's also add some highlights on the background. So we have some red going onto the background. So we're just gonna make a new layer on top of the background on color dodge, and we're going to grab our brush tool, really big soft brush, not that big, 1200 maybe, depending on the size. Oh, that's too big. Okay, 800. Whoops, 800. Yeah, that looks fine. Opacity maybe 2%, maybe 2%. Wait, what color do I have selected? Okay, and select the orange, and just kind of, that's too much. Let me just go back a bit. Let me select this red here. Okay, red and orange together seem to work nicely. So you kind of get some color going on in the background too. Just like that. Now I'm going to lower the opacity a bit. And there we go. Just a slight bit of color, you don't want to mess it up. And I'm gonna name this to effects. Effect, and make them into a group called effects. Okay, so once you've done all this, now there's one last step. You can add a new layer, go to image, apply image, and you put the entire image on a new layer, the entire image. And now there's a thing called camera raw filter. Now this contains basically every single control that is here. See, so human saturation, vibrance, exposure, etc. in one single filter, so you can control everything. Now this is default. This comes default with Photoshop. If you have a legitimate copy of Photoshop, you should have it. I heard also there are some illegitimate copies that also have it. If you don't have it, then you might want to, you know, check it out, see what's going on. And you can also add these effects manually. This is optional, but I'm going to use the camera raw filter, because this is usually for raw photographs from cameras, but you can use this for images in Photoshop that you customly made. So this is my image right now, and as you can see, we have exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, clarity, everything, which you can also control here with the normal effects, but this has everything. So let me change the temperature a bit, you know, play around, and exposure, play around with the exposure, the contrast, the highlights. There we go, a bit more highlights, a bit more clarity, increase the blacks a bit, vibrance maybe, just a bit more vibrance. Gonna go here to tone curve and increase the highlights so the horns stand out more. A bit of sharpening, you can add a bit of sharpening. Now in the HSL, hue, saturation, luminance, you can play around here. You can change the color, for example, of your horns. If you can also add a hue saturation layer here. Manually, in case you don't have this. Let me see here, the aquas in the background. I can change the color to that too. There we go. Maybe add some saturation here in the saturation tab. Add some saturation to the horns. What about the background? Can I add some stuff around? Oh, is it green? It's green, isn't it? Yeah, it's green. There we go. Just gonna pump up the blues a bit. And the yellows, let me see what we can get here. Definitely the yellows quite a bit. Luminance, you can make it how bright you want. You know, you can make this brighter. Oh, that's a bit too bright. I don't want that. What about the aquas in the background? No, it's green. I forgot it's green. Okay, there we go. Okay, I see what's going on. let me see here. Split toning, don't touch that. You don't need that. The lens correction, you can change the color. You know, you can play around with the color. The green amount, for example, here. You can also make it however you want. You know. Okay. The purple amount, defringe, etc. I go to manual. I like this. I like to go to manual and add a bit of distortion, and then just scale in. And this will basically distort your image to oblivion, and make a cool effect where the background is just like I don't know. It pops out more. It makes it look cooler. It also bends it a bit, and I kind of like the look of that. So I'm gonna go to effects now, add a bit of grain. And let me see here, play around with the colors here in the camera calibration, play around, you know, with the reds, add more contrast, the blues, you know, you can add more blues, increase the saturation, etc. The greens, you can add more greens in the background if you want to, and so on, and press OK. So as you can see, this is what we started from, you know, kind of a bit of not that colorful. And this is what we came to. So as I said, you can also add the things here. I can add a hue and saturation, increase the saturation of the image. I can add some color balance curves, whatever you want. Camera just has everything inside, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Let me add some gradient map, maybe a blue gradient map, and put it on lighten so we can get some more washed out blacks, but in a blue kind of color. So let me see here, lighten, and lower the opacity, and just a tiny bit, just like that. I kind of like that, and I'm gonna keep it like that. Lighten. Okay, there we go. So this is our image, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I think it came out nicely. This is how you do these kind of manipulations. You can obviously use any animal. You can use anything you want, basically. You can use a person sitting on a rock, on a sphere, whatever you want. Now check the description for the links to the stocks, not the Shutterstock stocks, but the CG texture stocks. So just grab those and start playing around. Check out DeviantArt for other stocks like antlers and stuff like that. I think I will put links in the description. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I know it's long. I know it was long, but I hope you stuck with me here, you know, for the duration, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and see you guys in the next tutorial. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, favorite, and share with your friends. And also follow me on Twitch. The links are in the description. See you guys in the next tutorial. Cheers.